Online, everyone claims to want to replace a Porsche. Whether that's just talk or they actually have the ability is hard to verify. But today, we've found a car in reality that can not only replace a Porsche but also outperform it, the Lynk Co 10 Plus. I'm not exaggerating. This car did beat a Porsche on a 3-track lap time leaderboard before, even though it used a track package and semi-slick tires. That's enough to prove that the car's basic performance is good enough. Since you're trying to be a Porsche alternative, you first need a low seating position like a sports car. In this aspect, I was a little disappointed. It's not as low as I imagined, especially compared to the extremely low seating position of Xiaomi's SU7 or Xpeng's new P7. This car can't achieve that, but it's still lower than most mid to large sedans. And the entire seat, whether you look at its overall adjustability or the steering wheel's adjustability, you can't find any major flaws. For example, the seat's front tilt can be adjusted independently, and it still feels soft to the touch. So don't be fooled by its very racing look. It won't put any pressure on your lumbar spine at all. As for the overall driving visibility, I originally thought that such a large carbon fiber rear wing would obstruct your view, but it doesn't at all. On the contrary, the two large A-pillars will become a source of blind spots, but I think you'll only need to get used to it a little. In terms of daily driving, this car doesn't require much stress. Speaking of daily driving, the power figures are quite impressive. 370 kilowatts for the single motor and 680 kilowatts for the dual motors. Would that make it difficult to control in daily city commutes and easy to lose control? Actually, if you use comfort mode, the power is very easy to drive. You'll feel its strong power reserve, but you won't feel like you're about to lose control or get scared. The accelerator tuning is particularly suitable for daily commuting. With a light touch, the power is very linear, unlike many performance cars that are jerky. In fact, if you set the suspension to its softest setting, which is equivalent to standard or even sporty settings in other cars, it won't give you too much feedback, but rather a sense of stability and confidence. Even in the most comfortable mode, you won't feel like you're driving a boat, including on highways. I think the MBH control is also flawless. But when you switch to sport mode, you'll find the car undergoes a complete personality change, a true personality shift, you know? It truly unleashes the car's full performance, especially during spirited driving or on winding mountain roads. You'll find the power delivery and responsiveness are worlds apart from comfort mode. In comfort mode, there's still a slight delay when you release and press the accelerator, which is particularly unfriendly for frequently switching between the accelerator and brake pedals. Switching to sport mode. This design essentially eliminates all delays and gaps in the accelerator pedal. The incredibly sensitive and direct power response is due, in part, to the high specification hardware of the motor. For example, it uses a coaxial motor, which shortens the forced transmission path. Furthermore, the motor housing is made of magnesium aluminum alloy, resulting in significant weight reduction. Secondly, the tuning is superb. Achieving over 900 horsepower isn't difficult in an electric vehicle, but controlling them much requires a certain level of skill. Add to that the braking force. In terms of handling and controllability, it's the most confident car I've ever driven in this mid to large size sedan in the same price range, bar none. The transition between the mechanical brakes and regenerative braking is virtually imperceptible. The mountain road we drove on today was narrow and winding, which really tested the chassis and steering tuning. This car doesn't have air suspension across the entire range, only a standard CCD suspension, but I found the results quite surprising. Firstly, It offers a wide range of personalization options, from suspension stiffness and brake responsiveness to steering feel. Secondly, even at the medium setting, I think the suspension is sufficient for handling some hilly roads with significant undulations. In fact, I feel that setting it to the stiffest setting is a bit bumpy and uncomfortable, perhaps more suitable for well-paved racetracks. The shock absorber's damping threshold is actually wider than that of a typical CCD, resulting in very responsive and controlled body roll and pitch. Don't assume that such a large sedan must have air suspension to avoid a very uncomfortable ride. In fact, a well-tuned CCD is actually quite comfortable. It's just as good as having air suspension. You see, the biggest advantage of air suspension for pure electric vehicles is its improved load-bearing capacity and comfort, especially the isolation from the road surface. That's the biggest difference between having air suspension and not. But in terms of direct handling and responsiveness, the Rowe EV with its CCD is more than enough for you. The steering is very responsive, even on mountain roads. Don't assume that because this is a 532 sedan, it will feel heavy and lack rear-wheel steering. No matter which steering setting you choose, the feedback is still better than. A more direct and realistic experience is that you'll find the coordination between the steering, chassis, and suspension is remarkably good. Although the steering wheel rotation isn't as nimble or rapid as a Tesla or Xiaomi, the feedback and directness it provides still have the feel of a sports car, not just something that looks sporty. Moreover, this car offers ample playability in terms of emotional value. For example, its simulated engine sound. When you select the simulated gasoline car setting, you'll find that the excitement is amplified even more. Driving at 20 or 30 kilometers per hour feels like driving at 80 or 90 kilometers per hour. It even has a backfire sound. Can you believe you can experience that in a pure electric vehicle? Furthermore, it not only features launch control, but also one-click drifting, features you'd find quite rare in similarly priced hot hatches with gasoline engines. How versatile is this car? You can freely adjust the torque distribution between the front and rear axles. Whether you want the rear-wheel drive feel of a BMW or the all-wheel drive feel of an Audi, you can find a suitable combination. As for fuel consumption, if you drive very aggressively and to the extreme, it will consume around 25 kilowatt hours, which is about 300 kilometers before needing to be charged. If you drive leisurely, it will consume just over 17 kilowatt hours. This is actually quite acceptable for a mid to large size sedan like the 532. Finally, I'd like to offer some purchasing advice for your reference. Firstly, who is the 100 Plus suitable for? I think it's especially suitable for people who are currently driving a gasoline-powered hot hatch and upgrading. For example, if you're driving a Golf GTI. The Mercedes-Benz A35L is a great alternative to other cars. It's not only fun to drive, but its spacious interior also solves the practicality issue. However, you have to accept that its pure electric range is only a little over 500 kilometers. So for most people, the mid-range version is a great deal. It has a large 95 kilowatt-hour battery that can travel over 800 kilometers on a full charge, and the charging speed is incredibly fast. Even if you're using it as the only family car, you won't have any range anxiety. But no matter which version you choose, this car is a bit lacking in some personalized packages. For example, while there are many options for the exterior and interior colors, most of them are rather understated. The best looking one is the cross blue we photographed. The others are all more subdued and low-key. And the wheel options for the 10 Plus and 10 Plus standard versions are not very appealing. I think if these personalized packages were added when it was officially launched, this car could be bought for less than 200,000 yuan. It might even be a youthful version of a Porsche.